still rising, and new spikes and waves are occurring in places that had suppressed the virus for many months.
Today, the journal Nature Microbiology published a study suggesting COVID-19 patients with severe symptoms generate a stronger and longer-lasting antibody response than those with milder cases. The authors say their findings suggest that when a vaccine comes out, we may require a booster shot to ensure lasting immunity. Dana?
All right, Jonathan Terry, thank you so much. So while all that's going on, the White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows defending the administration's COVID response and saying the focus needs to be on treatment. Why?
We're not going to control the pandemic. We are going to control the fact that we get vaccines, therapeutics, and other mitigation.
Why are we going to get
areas,
control of
because it is a contagious virus.
Democrats pouncing on that. Let's bring in Howie Kurtz for his take on how that was received. Howie?
Well, that was a killer soundbite, Dana. For Mark Meadows to go on CNN and say we're not going to be able to control the pandemic was like an early gift-wrapped basket of Halloween candy for the Biden campaign. And Meadows was talking to reporters this morning trying to clean up that mess. At the same time, it was also the White House Chief of Staff who sat on the news that 5 aides and advisors to Mike Pence had tested positive for the coronavirus. The press broke that story, and now there's a debate about whether the VP should continue to do the rallies this week. This is not, to put it loudly, how you want to go into the final week of the campaign.
The other thing I was wondering to get your take on, Howie, is you have, of course, the national news, cable news here, but what about those local news headlines? For some of those places that Jonathan Terry was just pointing out, a place like El Paso, Texas, with headlines saying, that our hospitals are full. Patients have to go somewhere else. Utah also seeing this. In Milwaukee, cases surging. So I'm wondering about the local news impact.
Utah and Tennessee, the local headlines are all about a shortage or a pending shortage of hospital beds. Some officials talking about rationing care. So the president lately, and this has become a staple of his rally, has been blaming the national media for overcoming the pandemic, for overhyping the pandemic. He goes after CNN in that 60 Minutes interview that aired last night with Leslie Stahl. He walked out and he said, the fake news media loves to say cases are up. Well, cases are up. He says because of more testing, but as you and Jonathan pointed out, hospitalizations being up shows that it's not just more testing. And the problem here is that Joe Biden can just sit back. He's doing far fewer events. He can say Donald Trump can't even protect his own White House. So the president is trying to strike an optimistic tone. Obviously, the economy, keeping schools open, very much tied to public concerns and fears about COVID-19. But it's hard when events conspire against you, as is happening with this latest surge.
And yet, just as a last question here, there are a lot of headlines looking at the very negative impacts of some remote school studies showing that kids are really struggling and that mental health problems are way up too.
Oh, sure. I mean, nobody thinks it's a great idea to have kids do virtual learning for the whole next year, even though some major school systems seem to be heading in that direction. Look, it's kind of become a cultural war revolving around masks. The president has always kind of sounded ambivalent about masks. He made fun of the White House reporter for wearing one just on Friday. The mask has kind of become the symbol of the Biden campaign. And so you have the president versus Anthony Fauci, calling him an idiot last week. I'm not sure that's a brilliant fight for him to pick, but a lot of people who support the president say, yeah, you don't need to wear masks. This is going to go away. They believe, and maybe they live in areas where it's not so bad. The problem is much more of the country as we head into the winter now, it's kind of starting to resemble the spring, and that's just a very tough issue for this president.
It is. And tough issue for America, but we'll get through it. We will. Howie Kurtz, thank you. Okay, tell you what, let's go back to that Trump rally in Pennsylvania. He's still speaking, rallying a crowd. Let's listen in.
I say examine every part of your body. You wouldn't believe it. I say get the hell out of here. I don't want to get out of here.
But I took Regeneron, and the next morning I felt like Superman. I felt, whoa. I said, I got to get back. I got to get back. You don't want a president that's laying in the hospital saying, oh, we got to get back, right? And people get that 99.9. I mean, and the state has to open up. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, you got to get it open. You have a governor who, by the way, has made it. Governor Nick Wolf. I'll remember. My last site, He got them to close it up. We've had a lot of problems getting sites. They believe in freedom of speech, of course, but we've had a lot of problems with this guy because in the last one we had to move around different sides. He was watching. They don't want to. They don't want to suspend. And this is the guy who's a judge of ballots, right, in this state. So what do you think he's going to do with the ballots, right? And this is the guy that we just sued because they don't want to have poll watchers in Philadelphia. So why don't they want to have poll watchers? What's wrong with people watching the votes? They don't want to have poll watchers. If Joe Biden and the Democrat socialists are elected,
Hi all! Nagte-testing lang tayo ha, ng nightbot. Maldita ko, tamsak dan. At babe, salamat maldita ko. Ayan, bigyan kita ng jacket. Testing lang ako ha, maya ano ko na to, i-off ko na. Ha, yan, Tamad TV, mayroon ka ng jacket. Testing lang ako ng nightbot ko, ayan, gumagana na. Haha! Salamat sa inyo. Maldita ko, Bisayang Inday Buho Lano. Padikit. Okay, Tamad TV, salamat. And i-off ko na in a few seconds ha. Tinesting ko lang. First time ko gumana ganun. Nag-add ng nightbot. Okay, Tamad TV. Gawa rin ako ng timers. Oo. Dinidiscover ko pa paano. Ha? Salamat. Lagyan mo din kung ano yung link na yan. Okay. Ganun pala. Salamat, Tamad TV, ha. At sino pa, Maldita ko. Salamat sa inyo, ha. I-off ko na, ha. Tinesting ko lang kung gumagana. Maraming salamat. Thank you.